Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tearing down a massive bottleneck that is quietly reshaping the entire global economy. For over a century, the Panama Canal, this stunning 82-kilometer engineered marvel, has been the absolute, undisputed crown jewel of global trade. It saves ships a grueling, genuinely dangerous 2-week journey around the tip of South America. But right now, the world's most critical shortcut is running incredibly dry, and it's exposing a severe vulnerability in our supply chains. We're going to break down exactly why this is happening, the mechanics of the crisis, and how it's triggering a high-stakes race for brand new transit routes. Let's dive in.
To really grasp the sheer panic this is causing, just take a look at this number, $4 million. Back in November 2023, a massive shipping company did something that sounds totally insane to anyone outside the logistics industry. They paid nearly $4 million in a secret, closed-door auction. And here's the kicker. That money, it wasn't to buy a new ship, and it wasn't to purchase cargo. It was literally just the fee they had to pay to skip the line.
What you're seeing here is pure desperation economy in action. Transit slots became so incredibly scarce that the Canal Authority started auctioning off the few remaining daily openings to the highest bidder. Slots that used to cost a couple $1,000s suddenly skyrocketed into the millions. Companies are fighting for their survival here. But it begs the question, why are these slots so scarce in the first place? How does a canal that is literally bordered by 2 massive oceans run out of water? Section 1, the freshwater trap. Let's look at the engineered geography. To understand the root cause of this massive logistical nightmare, we actually have to look past the money and focus entirely on engineered geography. When most of us think of a canal, we picture the Suez Canal over in Egypt. The Suez is basically a flat, sea-level ditch cut right through the desert. Salt water flows freely through it. But Panama? The Panama Canal is a massive, elevated water bridge. It relies entirely on a system of freshwater locks, operating 26 meters above sea level. So Panama finds itself in this really precarious geographical trap. Sure, the country is a narrow strip of land sandwiched right between the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea, but the canal itself is fed by an artificial reservoir deep in the jungle called Gatun Lake. The Canal Authority cannot use a single drop of all that surrounding ocean saltwater to run the locks. If they did, they'd completely contaminate the local freshwater ecosystems and absolutely ruin the country's drinking water supply. The mechanics of this water bridge are absolutely fascinating. To get a ship across the continent, the whole system runs on pure gravity. Massive culvert valves open up, fresh water from Gatun Lake rushes down, and it literally lifts these immense, heavily loaded cargo ships 26 meters up into the air, floats them across the lake, and then carefully lowers them back down on the other side. But here is the fatal flaw in all that brilliant engineering. 200 million liters. That is the staggering volume of fresh water. We're talking about the equivalent of 80 Olympic-sized swimming pools that gets completely flushed out into the saltwater ocean every single time just one ship passes through. The canal doesn't just hold water, you guys, it devours it.
Now, historically, Panama's intense, super reliable tropical rainfall naturally replenished Gatun Lake way faster than the canal could ever drain it. But recently, the rain just stopped. Severe El Niño weather patterns triggered punishing, historic droughts. It turned a lush, reliable rainwater engine into a dry, cracked landscape, leaving the lake severely depleted. Climate change has essentially weaponized the canal's own design right against it.
Let's move to Section 2, the global traffic jam. Zooming out to the macro-level impact. Because those lake levels plummeted so fast, the Canal Authority had to make some really drastic operational cuts. The very first move was a draft reduction, dropping the maximum allowed depth of the ship from 50 feet down to 44 feet. Put simply, because there was physically less water in the canal, ships just couldn't ride as deep without literally scraping the bottom of the channel. To actually meet this strict new limit, shipping companies were forced into some incredibly inefficient logistics. These massive vessels had to physically pull into neighboring ports and dump thousands of cargo containers, just leaving them sitting on the docks. They had to shed a massive amount of weight just to sit high enough in the water to safely make the crossing.
And even lightening the load wasn't enough. The canal also had to drastically slash the total number of ships allowed through. Normal operations handle about 38 transits every single day. At the height of this crisis, that number was cut nearly in half. It created this sprawling global traffic jam, leaving dozens and dozens of giant cargo ships permanently anchored and stranded outside the entrances, just sitting there waiting for rain. So let's summarize the brutal choices logistics companies are facing in this new reality. With transit slashed by half, your first option is to try and win one of those multi-million-dollar bidding wars. If you don't have that kind of cash, your second option is to just sit idle in the ocean for weeks, literally burning money every single day. Or you choose the third option. You give up on the shortcut entirely. Which brings us to Section 3, the geopolitical detours, the desperate search for a backup plan. As the illusion of Panama's permanent monopoly totally shatters, global trade is aggressively scrambling for alternatives. If a company refuses to pay the extortionate auction fees and they refuse to wait a month in line, they have to take a punishing detour. Ships are being forced to sail all the way down and around the stormy tip of South America. That adds roughly 2 extra weeks of transit time and massive fuel costs, completely upending global delivery schedules.
But here's the thing. This crisis has created a massive geopolitical opportunity for neighboring countries. The most ambitious challenger stepping up right now is Mexico. They have poured billions into the Interoceanic Corridor. It's a high-capacity rail network built across the Isthmus of Tehuantepec, which is this narrow 200-kilometer stretch of land that happens to be the absolute shortest distance between the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific Ocean. The mechanics of Mexico's solution are brilliantly simple but highly effective. It's a true land bridge. Step 1, a ship docks and unloads its cargo on one coast. Step 2, those containers get loaded onto a high-capacity train that blasts across the country in just 6 hours. Step 3, the cargo is reloaded onto a completely different ship waiting on the other side. They are entirely replacing a wet canal with a dry land bridge. So the absolutely crucial point here is this trade-off. You are sacrificing raw throughput for climate resilience. Analytically speaking, a single train track is never going to match the massive raw volume of a fully functioning wet canal. You simply can't move as many boxes. But a train doesn't require 200 million liters of rainwater to operate. It offers global supply chains the ultimate insurance policy against totally unpredictable weather. It's just a stark reminder that our highly optimized global economy is entirely dependent on physical geography. For a century, Panama was the uncontested gatekeeper of the Americas. But today, climate volatility is literally redrawing the map of global trade right before our eyes. The next time you buy a product shipped from Asia, its path might not be determined by some brilliant corporate strategy, but by the water level of a single, highly stressed lake in the jungle. It really makes you look at the globe differently, doesn't it? As climate volatility continues to redraw our maps, what other vital geographical shortcuts, straits, canals, and engineered bottlenecks are quietly holding global trade hostage? I'll leave you with that provocative thought about the true fragility of our engineered world. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the mechanics behind the map.